to interview Magda Sommer, author of the new nutrition recipe book, Coffee is Not Breakfast. It's a milestone book for the first step in improving your health every day. Welcome, Magda.
Thank you, Jack. Welcome back. And I am so excited to share with you the my work behind the coffee is not breakfast, which we already stir a little bit of the pot, as everyone loves the liquid, and most of the time before the breakfast. So thank you for
Well,
having me.
it was a great perspective, and I'm thrilled to have you because you have a most noteworthy and empowering work that you've accomplished. And it's precisely, I find, what's needed today in order to steer people back to the fundamentals of eating for health. So your book, let me show it. Your book here is just chock-a-block full of delicious, healthy recipes. Everyone's got recipes. In fact, just let me know if you need a recipe for armadillo roadkill chili, and I'll send it to you. But this book is not just recipes. It also speaks to symptoms so many women experience in midlife, like fatigue and cravings and stress and inflammation, digestive issues, hormonal changes. You also include quizzes and check ins throughout the book, making it a direct engagement with foods for healing. Why was it important to you to help women connect and reconnect that what they eat and with what they're feeling in their bodies?
I notice when I working with the women, most of them are confused. What to eat, what not to eat. And we do not treat our symptoms as a message. Women treat it as a process of getting older and something what is common. And common is not normal at the first place. And if we do not know what our body is signaling to us, we have tendency to destroy it because we don't value it, and we don't value it because we do not understand it. So I believe if the women have a moment to stop and make a simple quiz and connect it to the symptom, this is when the empowerment starts. When they start have this moment of aha, this is me and this is why. And that is the first step to owning your health and connecting the dots, because our body, show up those symptoms like the dashboard in our cars. However, we know more about our cars, about our cosmetics than about our only home, our body. And those quizzes are showing us why, wait, this is me. I can fix it. I don't need to go to doctor. I have this power. And there is whole message to give the women powers back, not to live in this hustle culture. Just stop, think, and take one step back and nourish our home, our body properly.
All right. We touched on something when we did a little interview, Substack posting 5 days ago. And there was an overtone that really how we approach food and nourishment is indeed a self responsibility to know ourselves and to know that our bodies depend on nature's wholesome nutrients that comes from the earth. And then we mentioned the air, the sunshine. What I didn't mention in that article was that, in my own opinion, love itself is actually a nutrient that we see people that are denied contact and love as children inevitably have mental and emotional issues. So when we really look at what's the care and feeding of the human being, we have some intangible sunshine, air, love, and these type of etheric things. But then when we really get down to it, we have a responsibility to our health. And unfortunately, it's not a responsibility that's been shared by big ag and big grocers as they're looking to push things into the marketplace for profit. And we have to almost retool. So these recipes of yours have come from women that are inside of your reset wellness circle. Why was it important for this book to be created by real women using real recipes for real life?
I want to show the world that everyone from different background, different culture can do it. And I share monthly meal plans with my ladies, which are pretty balanced meal plans. So we decided to vote for the best, what we love the most, and create the book and inspire the world that is doable and is doable with the community. So you don't need to do this just by yourself. And those recipes are chosen as the most delicious, and they most of them were common version of unhealthy food, like the tacos, like guacamole without any fancy addition to it or preservatives, even delicious chocolate cake, which is much more healthier than one you can buy in the Publix is the grocery chain in south in here. So those are really recipes what the families enjoy in just in more healthy way, because the real food comes from Mother Earth without any addiction, any alternation. And my ladies show exactly, they follow it. They saw the results. They not just lose weight, they just feel more energized and joyful. And the community prove that, we need the community to be a part of our health.
Yeah, that's so important. I was just reminiscing that when I started 50 years ago in natural health, that I thought, well, anything that's organic, anything that's natural should be much better. When we look at how we were sold an inferior Cavendish banana and crowded out all the really good bananas in the world for the pretty yellow one, that you can put on a hat and do your Chiquita Banana song with. And this has happened again and again and again with foods that marketeers have sold us an inferior quality, inferior tasting food, and yet we've learned to accept it. One of the big driving forces was the low cost or the subsidized cost. Back to the banana story. So you're reconnecting people with the foods that actually, when we learn to work with them, and like you said, it has to be doable. I think sometimes I've looked at a recipe and it's like for the next 15 hours you're going to be cooking bone broth, or the next 3 days you're going to be fermenting sauerkraut, and you've got to maintain it and these things, or you're going to take your organic grain and you're going to sprout it for a day, and then you're going to put it in a grain mill and let it rise. And all of a sudden, we're taking a step back, which some people dearly love. They love being in the kitchen. But frankly, we know from today's world, it's how quick can I grab a fast food? How quick can I shut off my hunger button and get back to what other things that I might want to do and not have to wash the dishes? So we've traded convenience for our health. And that's what impressed me with your book, is that I kept looking at it. It's doable. Um, you know, um, and you're also giving this extra information. So foods and spices are underappreciated in our culture. And spices are not merely flavorings. Many are important sources of antioxidants, antimicrobial agents, which is direct immune support, digestive compounds. And you and I were talking earlier how we might mention, like, well, Marco Polo's accounts of his travels to the East historically helped fuel European fascination with spices such as black pepper, which were commodities at that time valued not for just flavor. Europe was not all gaga over, oh boy, I can put pepper on my scrambled eggs, but it was for their therapeutic value. So I noticed in your book, every recipe has behind the bites section that explains the health benefits of ingredients. And this is a connection people need to know, that when they twist that pepper or dash a bit of herb, that they're actually giving their bodies something that their bodies are looking for in order to be healthy. So, um, why do you believe women need to understand what their food is doing for their body, not just making something that tastes good?
Because food is not just the fuel, it's information, it's a nutrients. And our body is like delicious soup. And I love this analogy because when your soup doesn't have enough salt, it's not delicious. When it has too much salt, it's also not delicious. So it needs to be perfect, optimal. All these ingredients are information and the healing properties to our body. And we do not know. We just grab everything out of the shelf, pretending this is healthy because it's in the groceries. But it's not. And every food, what comes from Mother Earth, has the healing properties. And when you know that, when a woman knows what it does to us, what the carrots do to our eyes, or maybe protecting our skin in the long term from the harmful UV rays, that is empowerment. I know what I'm putting in my body. I know what it does to me. And most women just know, do not eat that, but they have no idea why they not should eat that, or why they should eat something. They do not know the replacement. And when we're replacing bad habits with good habits, maybe we should know why is that.
Boy, yeah, this is so absolutely critically important, and one of the many reasons I'm excited about your book, Reconnecting People. You mentioned a word twice there, information, and that's what I think has been left out of the conversation. That food is digested by our gut microbiome, and it turns it into informational compounds that go to the cells. It tells the cells how to fight cancer, tells the immune system how to fight bad bacteria. It tells the brain how to enliven its thought processes. It tells the glymphatic system how to detoxify the brain during sleep. On and on. There's every part of our physical being is impacted by this information, and we ought to understand this because we live in an information world now. It's everything within the cyber world is the sharing of information going up to the satellites and back. And this is an archetype for what goes on in the body. So today, big ag and big grocer, those cartels denigrate the concept of organic as being, fastidious and hippie food. We might remember when Michelle Obama, as First Lady, wanted to help inner city youths via growing organic gardens and learning the miracles of nurturing food and growing real food. Big ag and big grocers persecuted her and stopped her project because it promoted the superiority of organic foods, not just for the absence of cancer causing pesticides and herbicides, but the genetically altered products, which become inflammatory. In other words, they don't have the right information for the cells, and the body struggles a bit to accommodate those foods. They become more stressful than giving, they become more taking than giving. And setting up that organic implied that processed, denatured foods are inferior junk foods. That's the mainstay of their business model. So now you are encouraging women to buy organic when they can, or at least find a local farmer they can trust. Why does knowing where your food comes from matter so much to you?
First of all, I grew up in a rural area in Poland. So, and there was the communism back then. So my grandma grew everything. I know how to forage food. I know, how to grow food in my garden. And I literally was picking up straight from the tree, or you pick up from the dirt, and I was eating that. That is not good habit for today because we have all the chemicals, pesticides, which kills our guts. Besides, all of these things what you mentioned, and we can go on and on about nutritional value of organic food or from good sources from your farmer. But I think I need to mention it. If you will know what is going, how the fields are fertilized with human sludge, that's, eating your own crop have a different meaning. and you don't want to eat that. And besides that, I want to address that it's not just healthier, but a lot of women think the cost is bigger. Yes, it is. However, when your body recognize the nutritional value of this organic food, you not eating that huge portion. So there is a win-win of situation. You eating less and you eating more nutritional food, and basically end of the day is almost the same. And you are healthier, you have more energy, because on the end of the day, we're looking not how we look, how we feel. And we all need the energy to, enjoy the life. Everyone has energy to sit and watch Netflix, but not everyone has energy to play, to have fun.
Yeah, you hit another key buzzword there with energy, and in natural health, we often look to the bioresonance or the energy. When I personally, when I go out in my garden and I'm taking a fig from the fig tree or a jalapeno pepper from the plant, there is an immediate vitality and appreciation. There's a difference than what is shipped in from afar into the industrial city civilizations. And there's a difference in the way our bodies process this. And so, you and I could do a session on everyone should be growing something, whether it's in a little light box in the windowsill in a tiny little one room apartment, or a little patch of ground that the fresh, vital foods gives a fresh, vital input, information, and energy to our bodies, and people are so estranged from this today. With many even natural health recipes, let's take this to another extreme here. People encounter strange ingredients, such as a special variety of tomato imported from Italy, or a rare snail oil from France, or fermented ghee from A2 genetic cows fed organic sorghum under a full moon. And it gets the difficulty, the fastidiousness rises. Now, in your book, you included something called kitchen chaos, which are notes with how to substitute or ingredients or swap ingredients. Why was it important to make this book so flexible for women in kitchens, women responsible for the children's diets, instead of making them feel like, oh, I'm blowing it already because I couldn't follow this fastidious recipe perfectly?
I believe the perfection is the big myth and stops a lot of women, humans, for following something because of the fear of failing. And, I used to be that person who just needs to follow the recipe to that. And some of the recipes wasn't good. And we all have different taste buds. And we have also different pantries at home. So those quick swaps is invitation for you to becoming magician in your own kitchen, to make your own recipes, to make your own twist. And this is the beauty behind that. And we don't need to make the kitchen experience a science experiment. I remember my grandma was doing making her own sauerkraut, sour pickles, and when I decided to re-explore this wisdom, I start reading some of the recipes, and everything sounds like science experiment. You need to have certain percentage of something, and I was like, hell no, she didn't do this like that. It was just so simple. And this is what I want to show the world, show the women. Kitchen can be simple. You can make your own adjustment. If you do not have something at home, you don't need to run to the store. Just substitute with something different. And it can be even more delicious. You do you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And being a person who wanted to embrace more of the what I'll just call true foods uh, for our human being, um, I found that once you're set up, and once you're, let's say, used to making your own sauerkraut in a sauerkraut crock, and we already know the probiotics are already in the cabbage. There's no starter culture to get, and all you need is just a little crock in the corner, and you can be using sauerkraut at different phases of its microbial blessings over time, and what an important these fermented foods are. Suddenly, it just got to be routine. It got to be easy. It wasn't like, oh, I have to devote an entire day to managing the kitchen. And that's what we need to get back to is um, the fact that there's a certain line in the sand between our responsibility to our bodies and our health and what we need to do versus the lure of all the convenience factors that denigrate our health and bring inferior full tummies to us. And I was just thinking recently, we had the executive branch of our government sanction more glyphosate, which is linked with causing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and damage in the soil microbiome and damage to neurological functions. And they just said more, more, more. And because it's a military and strategic importance, and what they're really saying is the full tummy, even if you're going to get cancer 5 years from now, the full tummy is better because the full tummy is a timeline. But if you don't have it, where you could be literally 3 days from street riots over food. But what we're not doing as a species is getting back uh, to our roots and the rules, the laws that govern our health. Now, cellularly and historically, our bodies want a full and varied diet. You have hundreds of different foods in your book, and we can all expand. Our genes evolved via hunting and gathering, catch as find or catch can, and our metabolic processes depend upon a wide array of nutrient and postbiotic compounds. So um, I can understand living in the land of plenty, that excess sets the stage for deprivation, counterbalance, but it seems to be even more into the feminine psyche. And in our article that we wrote together, we talk about the fact that the media deliberately sized up women and played on women's sensibilities and traits, and I felt very estranged in the sense that it's abuse. It's women are manipulated and being targeted to sell the processed foods and drugs and to make in our article it was particularly the coffee industry determined that women were now the mark, and they had the, let's say, the emotional profile in order to know how to double or triple women's use of coffee. And so I'm asking now, why do so many women fall into the trap that eating means painful use of willpower and deprivation? Because I mean, we know in natural health, burgers, pizza, even ice cream can be healthy when the recipe and the preparation focuses on health. So, why this phenomenon, which you avoided in your book so beautifully, is that you have to suffer, you have to give up what you love, you have to give up that addictive quality of that processed food and suffer in order to be healthy. Therefore, you're healthy but not happy. And so I found in your book, which made me extremely happy to read and engage, why the struggle for so many females of our species.
We are bombarded that we need to look certain way and to be certain, behave certain way, and everyone from every child, female child from early age is, introduced to word diet. And all the women saying about weight loss and diets, entire word diet has a very bad neural connection. It's like something needs to die. And we look like that we need to deprive ourselves. I remember, one lady I work with, she came to me and she said, I want to lose 40 pounds in 4 months by age of 70. And I took a deep breath and I said, okay, let's do it, but tell me why. And this is what I always encourage to every person I work with. Why you want to do this? Because women have a short-term goals. They want to look good for a reunion, for holidays, for pictures, you name it. What is motivation? However, healthy lifestyle is giving us lives back. So I'm helping women to create sustainable rest of their life because health is liberation, not punishment. Nothing what is go short term and you go back to old way of eating put you in the same situation or even worse. Healthy lifestyle could be delicious, could be joyful, and it show you, the rest of your life can be in good quality, not just adding years to your life. And that's what we should look on this. Find your reason why you wanna be healthy. Do you want to be on your child's wedding? Do you want to play with your grandsons? Maybe you want to travel the world. So when you wake up in the morning and check with yourself if your current health support your dream life? If yes, you're doing great. If not, keep going. Find another way and do not do this everything the same time. That book is the foundation of this health. It's one step. And trust me, when you go farther and farther, you will make even better choices because there is not such a thing as perfection. It's just step one step at a time.
Yes, so for people who want to engage their core beauty, the beauty that's more than skin deep, you don't have to have $1 million diamond encrusted dress and then say, "Oh, this rag." You don't have to have toxic beauty with, the horrendous things that they put in cosmetics that when someone says, "Oh, you're looking good," then you can just think, "Yeah, I'm eating right." And everything else is added on. Today, after years of hybridization and glutenization of wheat, the staff of life, the beautiful staff of life from thousands of years ago, is now genetically altered through hybridization for smut resistance, thrasher harvesting, and stretchy flour, and dairy milk employs more allergenic, let's say A2 genetic cows, and is pasteurized, which means it's heat altered, and homogenized, which is the micronizing of fat molecules, and they can slip in through leaky gut and create inflamed arteries. But I noticed in your book that every recipe, coincidentally or not, is gluten free and dairy free. And it's such an empowering move because I see people saying, "Oh, little Johnny is so sensitive to gluten and I'm struggling. Where do I get gluten free?" There is a huge movement and a massive amount of wonderful, wonderful meals that happen to be gluten free and commercial dairy free, which seem to be two of the big bugbears for the human gut. Because, and I look at it this way, the milk is a perversion of what would have been breast milk, and wheat food in commercial society today is a perversion of the original, maybe where there was only 4 or 6 gluten chromosomes in the wheat. Now there's, 30, 40, as it has been altered for a variety of reasons, none of which had to do with human health. So now we're stuck in a society that's on a witch hunt, and how miserable it is to smell that wonderful, chewy smells that genetically our bodies have been programmed for, I want to say, 4,000 years or more to embrace the wonderful cream of milk or embrace the one of natural, let's say in this case, raw milk, and the natural staff of life. And so was that just coincidental or was that intentional that
It
you've
was
liberated so much of people where they need the restrictions because of the denigration of the food? that is offered to us. So
It was my tricky and sneaky way to show the women that healthy is delicious. And once when I will mention this is gluten and dairy free, your brain will just stop you because our brain doesn't like changes and doesn't like restriction. And I took the gluten and dairy because I found that there is one of the most inflammatory food what we consuming, and just by eliminating those two for period of time, and you will see the difference. And when you see the difference and you will feel energized and not deprived, you probably stick to it. And I want to mention that most produce on the shelves, which is gluten free, is just gluten free. Doesn't mean it's healthy. There is a lot of sugar in it. It's still highly processed. And those recipes, when you don't know, you don't know. And that was my twisty way to show you that, food is delicious, even if it's a gluten and dairy free. And I think this is the maybe twisted way, but maybe is the mission accomplished.
it's a wonderful trait to mention that we don't have to basically call the hamburger bun and the ketchup two of the vegetables that are needed for dietary health, the way a lot of registered dietitians put forth some years ago. That a French fry, the bun, and the ketchup could be three of the vegetables daily intake. Would you say now this book is where the foundation of health begins? Not in a disease trained doctor's office or another complicated program, something that we have to reach out and embrace and pay for and trust, but it can actually be self sufficiency inside a woman's own home. And I don't know, I understand the women centric speciality, but I'm all over this book. I felt like a stranger in a strange land, but I said, no, this is a lot more universal. And I would challenge any men viewing this video that, yeah, you need this book. I need it big time. But inside our own home, where so often the process is the mother or the woman preparing food for the family, wanting that which nurtures her children to grow healthy, and basically it's nourishing and nurture uh, to empowering feminine traits. So is that where this is? Is this, do you think, or do you propose this is the foundation of, health?
Absolutely. This is a great start. First step, not just for a woman, is for entire families. Because 80% of women are the decision makers if it comes to the grocery, to the wellness program for their families. So if the woman get healthier, entire family get healthier, and it's easy, and it's the basically common food in just in healthier version with wholesome ingredients, something what grew and walk on the earth. And this is when we all started. We just don't need this factory made food, and just only to call still the food is, and it's like you healthier, you are more happier. And this is the empowerment one every woman can have. And like you mentioned, not in doctor office, when you know how to nourish your body, and this is your fuel. And when you do not have a proper fuel, you feel not good. It's like car running on the wrong gas, or without the gas. So you need to go your car to the mechanic. And these days, doctors basically bypassing your symptom and masking. They do not ask you what you ate, what you eating. They just, this is normal. And we have more power and more to say about our bodies, our health, than we think, and we need to go back to it. And this book is the first step down to the basement, because we should build our health from the basement, from the foundation, not the from rooftop.
Wonderful. Today our culture exists with the attitude of quickly filling the belly. So we can tend to other more important activities, such as updating our social media or viewing another chain of TikTok videos or whatever. But what would you say to the woman who thinks cooking food rather than microwaving a ramen is too hard, too expensive, too time consuming, or too complicated.
Most recipes in this book is below 30 minutes. Everyone has time for it. And if you done really in that rush, I think we should all stop and reevaluate our lives. The culture put our women on overdrive. We are so confused what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what is our role in society. And this is the way to stop, reevaluate our life and how we should live from now on. It's kind of simple, but it's not easy. But your health starts in the kitchen. Your health starts what you're putting into your mouth. And if you do not have time to nourish yourself properly, this is not the living. That is another thing we need to address.
Yeah.
Where you rushing? Because the only way where we rush is the grave. And how we end up there is up to us. It will be slow and painful, or it will be joyful.
Joyful, that's the key. And I know more and more people now are earning the joy of being able, it's meditative to focus and understanding that the food is becoming our bodies. Maybe not so much you are what you eat, but you are what your gut microbiome eats. And that, but our attention to that, every gardener knows that if you want the beautiful vegetables, you must nourish. Um, every elite athlete knows that they need a training table, that they need a custom diet. It's just ingrained in us, and yet we have this massive TV campaign to, yeah, you can get away with eating junk if you do a belly shot, or you can, all these shortcuts and convenience factors. What you've done in your material is, like you said, you show people that a little tiny, a modicum of attention and the joy of putting something together actually brings to your cells the vibrancy that is set up in the core of our DNA. That these are the informational molecules, these are the nutrients, these are the self-regulatory things that we need. And oh boy, if we can do it quickly and it's absolutely delicious, how wonderful is your contribution to empowering everyone, and particularly women, to take charge of this area that is literally almost by genetic design the ability to love, to share, to nurture, to support, and being in that element, and then rendering these nutrients where you're saying to yourself, "I love myself, I love my family, and I have a responsibility for my health to nourish and nurture my health at the cellular level." So I'm going to ask one more question. What do you hope women feel after reading and preparing food from your book? Please allow me to blatantly hold it up um, and and show people it exists. It's beautiful, and it's called "Coffee Is Not for Breakfast." What do you hope women feel when they engage your book?
I want them to, and I hope they will feel empowered, and there is a hope that someone there is for them, holding their hands and giving them simple and very understandable instruction what to do and where to start. And they don't need to do this alone. And this book proved that other women can do this as well, not just health wellness professionals. There are women in this book who never cooked before they start working with me, and with those simple recipe, it's just easy. It's not just simple, it's also easy, which is huge difference. And
And tasty.
those recipes also prove one thing, that actually food can give you energy. Because if you feel sluggish after, eating your dinner, that's not way to go. Food is fuel. And, I want every woman to know this is really easy, doable when you know where to start.
Please tell everyone how they can uh, order your book. I know you have a website set up, and also I would like if you would mention your circle club that I'd like people to be able to connect with you more.
Oh, thank you, Jack. You can find my book on the Amazon. It's Coffee is Not Breakfast. I also have a Reset Wellness Circle where you can meet monthly. And on the 21st of July, I opening the Coffee is Not Breakfast book club. So for extra accountability, for 4 weeks, I will guide you through the foundation, where to start. We will learn about all of this major points about what proteins to eat, what carbohydrates to choose, why not to drink coffee. So there's like little bit of boot camps in 4 weeks. And if the book is not enough for you, you need the accountability. I will be happy to guide you over there. So you can find me on the Facebook is Magda Sommer. You can also find me on Substack is also Magda Sommer or on my website, which is resetwellnessjourney.com.
Thank you so very very much. Um, I mentioned somewhere along the way that I closed my eyes, opened your book, and went to page 66. I made the guacamole recipe. It was so quick and easy. I just turned it into an entire meal. It was so good. So it's not just, I think the big issue for me has always been I want our natural model to excel, to be better, to taste better, to be easier, and it should stand at the top of the pinnacle of diet. I've never been happy with natural health substitutes that felt inferior. If you open up a package of Oreos or something, we want natural health should be speaking to our bodies, and we learn the differentiation between real food and real health, and just filling the belly with pablum and things that are stressful. I want to thank you again so very very much for joining us and this inaugural interview and sharing everything. I really want to encourage every listener to get to that link or to go to Amazon and look for Coffee is Not Breakfast, a beautiful hook for changing a massive detrimental dietary pattern into something where people can live long and prosper and be healthy. So thank you, Magna. It's wonderful to share this time with you.
Thank you so much, Jack, for having me here. It was a pleasure and a lot of fun.
All right.
Thank you.
Everyone take care.